What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope you're all absolutely fantastic. And today, as usual, we're gonna continue with Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. It's gonna be the 10th chapter of the 5th book, so let's get started. Decency. The next task is to discuss how decency is related to justice and how the decent is related to the just. For an examination, they appear as neither the same without qualification or as states of different kinds. Sometimes we praise what is decent and the decent person, so that even when we praise someone for other things, we transfer the term decent and use it instead of good, making it clear that what is more decent is better. Sometimes, however, when we reason about the matter, it appears absurd for what is decent to be something apart from what is just, and still praiseworthy, for apparently either what is just is not excellent, or what is decent is not excellent, if it is something other than what is just, or else, if they are both excellent, they are the same. These, then, are roughly the claims that raise the puzzle about the decent. But they are all correct in a way, and none is contrary to any other. For the decent is better than one way of being just, but it is still just, and not better than the just by being a different kind of thing. Hence, the same thing is just and decent, while both are excellent. What is decent is superior. The puzzle arises because the decent is just, but is not the legally just, not the legally just, but a rectification of it. This is because all law is universal, but in some areas no universal rule can be correct. And so, where a universal rule has to be made but cannot be correct, the law chooses the universal rule that is usually correct, when well aware of the error being made. And the law is no less correct in this account, for the source of the error is not the law or the legislator, but the nature of the object itself, since that is what the subject matter of actions is bound to be like. Whenever, therefore, the law makes a universal rule, but in this particular case, what happens violates the intended scope of the universal rule. On this point, the legislator falls short and has made an error by making an unqualified rule. Then it is correct to rectify the deficiency. This is what the legislator would have said himself if he had been present there, and what he would be prescribed had he known in his legislation. That is why the decent is just, and better than a certain way of being just, not better than the just without qualification, but better than the error that results from the omission of any qualification in the rule. And this is the nature of the decent rectification of law insofar as the universality of law makes it deficient. This is also why not everything is guided by law, for on some matters legislation is impossible, and so a decree is indeed. For the standard applied to the indefinite is itself indefinite, and the lead standard is in less buy-in building, where it is not fixed, but apparts itself to the shape of the stone. Similarly, a decree is adapted to fit its objects. It is clear from this what is decent, and clear that it is just, and better than a certain way of being just. It is also evident from this who the decent person is, for he is the one who decides on and does such actions, not an exact stickler for justice in a bad way, but talking less than he might even thought he has the law on his side. This is the decent person. His state is decency. This is a sort of justice, and not some state different from it. Alright, guys, so we've done with this chapter, and we're coming to the end of this book. One more chapter before the end, actually. So, Anyway, we're gonna continue tomorrow with the next chapter. As usual, thank you for joining me today in this reading session. Hope you enjoyed the journey. See you tomorrow. Bye.